KiaiMauna, this is Adam Westish. I'm making another video and it may sound repetitious, but let me get into that. I'm making this video about how devastating narcissistic abuse at the hands of an NPD can be, the consequences of being in any kind of relationship with a toxic bipolar NPD or a Trumpy, a serial criminal, a drugged out sex worker, a psycho or sociopath, and the possible ongoing consequences of publicly calling them out. I made the mistake of calling out Morgan Gravley, the worst of my abusers, and the names of some of his 5 or more gang-stalking friends and other NPDs or possible NPDs in my life by name, and I want to tell you about that story. Please excuse the amateurish audio and video quality. I'm just getting this setup kind of going, and I'll just do my best. So I'm making this video in case you've had many attempts on your life, possibly. Say having someone trying to run you over with their car. This happened to me twice yesterday. Threatening you with physical violence has also happened yesterday, and weapons. Having you called out in public with prevarications, insults, and lies. Having your social media accounts hacked, which also happened to me yesterday. Or say getting permanently crippled, having to escape an oncoming attempted murder. So let's get into this. And I'm going to pause here. This is about having not just one but many stalkers. How the privation and the abuse leaves you without money, food, or former resources, leaving you homeless, without even enough money to buy $2 razor blades or toilet paper. Having your transportation and body messed with and crippled so you can't go anywhere, which is often the goal of these kind of massively toxic people. This is how stalkers will even poison your food or throw substances in your water supply, has happened to me. How the stress will seem to aggravate substance use or other latent or other familial problems, generational problems, causing you to mirror your abusers. This is about how your toxic father will slander, steal from, and even cripple your transportation ability for years if necessary to keep you down. He'll force you to rely on friends who themselves may already be in dire circumstances. You'll end up with trusting your father. You'll end up with no vehicles, no help from other people who used to be in your life, people who used to help you out when you needed a friend. Your own mother will sabotage, steal from, lie to you, and slander you too, just to keep you back, or for their own private agendas. In public, toxic people will play the victim, the animal lover, the kind-hearted neighbor, while towards you they'll display their darkest, most abusive side, going to the point of killing or injuring animals and you, making sure that nobody can see or believe the abuse, the damage done to your life, some of it probably permanent. Fake family and flying monkeys will threaten you with firearms. Some may try to get you killed. Fake family will also hide pedophiles and abusers from the public. This is about rich, toxic family members who'd rather go flying around the world on your dime while being unwilling to spend $500 on bail after you're unjustly jailed, after having flying monkeys report you to the cops as a criminal, after being swatted and nearly killed by the police from these reports. Now, in order to get groceries, you're going to laugh at this, you'll have to walk miles to catch a free shuttle bus since you can't pay for a ride. Then you'll have to carry heavy grocery bags miles up a big steep hill with a bad back, just so you can feed yourself and your pets. And the narcs don't care about that. And this will be after you've spent hours working manual labor because all of your tools or even your shoes have been either stolen or sabotaged. Can you tell I'm talking about myself and what I've gone through? Okay, you'll be spending days being stalked and harassed by drug-addled weirdos and talking to police, instead of doing your important life-changing work, as empaths often do. So instead of doing sparkly, beautiful things, you're spending your time doing stupid administrative and other things that are not useful for the future. Sorry about my crazy hair here. Okay, there's some advice out there on the internet about not calling out narcs online. If I'd had a choice, I would do it again though, because justice is often delayed or it's absent due to their manipulation. Delays of being deprived of company due to abusers, creating deep fake profiles of you online, causing other possible dating or business partners to unjustly hate you. So if you see a lot of people just suddenly turning away from you or disappearing for absolutely no reason, leaving you confused, you might be being deep faked or catfished by the narcissist. So this is not only is that bad, but this will occur after a loss of confidence you'll feel because they're destroying because you'll be destroying your own health due to the malfeasance. They'll make sure that you're homeless, that you're drug raped, that you might have STDs, STIs, sexually transmitted diseases from people who you don't know, who will insult you, play in your face, or even like I had, leaving used condoms on the street to humiliate you after being unable to get dates due to their own actions. So they like to sabotage you and then dance away and say, look at how horrible the sabotage person is. Like a kind of a Donald Trump kind of a thing, yeah? So this is about how narcs and their flying monkeys, who could be all the rest of the people in your neighborhood or your community or your country. This is about how they and their flying monkeys will ghost you, steal from you, or physically assault you and feel perfectly justified in doing it. Even before you leave their ungrateful asses. So you can bring them food, show up at their house for a date, and they'll ghost you. They'll not be home. Guess why? Because they're serially cheating. You can be giving hours-long massages, tons of gifts, free services. You can give them all kinds of luxury while you get nothing and no reciprocation at all, except maybe a couple meals if you're lucky. They'll steal your time. They won't come over, even if they live like a block away, as my current stalker does. They'll spend hours rattling on about spiritual concepts that they don't understand just because they want to be spiritual like you are. And I put that in giant, as Hal Sparks says, giant fuck you bunny ears, while insulting your own faith with a passion, because they don't like people who actually have a spiritual background or a spiritual side where they believe in karma and that bad things come back to them, because it's convenient to not believe. Excuse the cane toads outside going nuts. You hear them? Actually, that's the bullfrog. Okay, dude, I'm trying to record a video here. Okay, this is about how people like our orange shit-stained Russian asset president, they're copycats by nature. So they like to copy the good aspects of their victims so that they can pretend to be them. They'll duplicate your haircut, they'll duplicate your hobbies, and I witnessed this myself many times. And then this video will also be about how you get hoovered back into that relationship. This happened to me because I followed the advice of a very respected and high-ranking religious friend in the community, so it could be a religious person or a teacher or a leader in the community, and they'll get you back in their life. And then while you're not in their life, they'll be out buying toys, starting hobbies, and pretending to be you, but with the fancier toys they can afford from all the resources and money they've serially stolen from people before you. And I apologize if I sound like another YouTuber, because I just was reviewing some of this stuff, and I'll post a link to his video on my video so you can tell him I'm not trying to lift his contents, but I'm trying to describe the events of my life in context that other people will understand the similar way that he did. So I'll also be talking about how abuse will arouse meltdowns in you. Let's say if you're any kind of a spectrum disorder, so you'll be just going along having a good day, and then something will trigger you. Usually the person sets up things that will trigger you in your environment so that you'll have a meltdown. So let's say you live in a shitty tool shed like me, and I was willing to put up with this because I'd just been homeless. And instead of renovating and making your place better, or doing art, let's say you play musical instruments or you do stuff on the you're a computer programmer like I am. Instead of doing that, you'll be busy destroying your own stuff in fits of rage because, the world's not listening to you. People are discrediting your experience or outright sabotaging you after you've just been sabotaged for, let's say months or years. So instead of doing art, you're busy destroying it. And that'll leave you more vulnerable to other acts of the flying monkeys or nature itself. Like I had a volcano that helped destroy the equipment that thieves and myself had not destroyed. I'm still suspicious about how my security cameras got disabled last time though. So anyway, one of the things that happens, I know I mentioned drug rape. That did happen. It's happened at least once, and it might have happened up to 3 or 4 times to me. The one time I definitely remember, I'll describe now. So, and kind of in general terms, but let's say you're drugged, so you'll be drugged out, you won't be aware, and you'll be performing sexual acts against your will with people you'd normally never trust or be attracted to, or you would just never get involved with. That's like what Bill Cosby allegedly did. You'll suffer remembering what was done by you or to you before you lost consciousness. In my case, I remembered things I was told to do because I was suddenly very compliant after having been drugged. And then I lost consciousness, and then more stuff happened that I don't remember fully because I was too out of it. And then after an experience like that, nobody will really believe you. So you'll be exiled, you'll be lonely, you won't receive validation from anybody, from former friends or people you trusted. They'll merely betray you. They'll get inside your trust circle and then they'll betray you. And it'll keep you from experiencing all the best things in life, from going out and enjoying things that you used to enjoy. It'll keep you from dating, experiencing any kind of romance for years at a time, possibly, like I did. About 7 years of bad luck. And a lot of this is just due to not only to the limitations you end up imposing on yourself, but the slander, which imposes societal limitations on you. So, but the good part is, and again, I'm going to refer to this other gentleman's YouTube, whose name is, again, escapes me at the moment. But what happens is, the good part about dealing with this abuse is it'll turn you into, it'll kind of turn you into a badass. You'll discover new talents and strengths that you didn't have. You'll, find out that you're good at hobbies that you didn't know about. In my case, I discovered more musical abilities and more art and programming abilities on the computer, and also some stuff to do with the outdoors. Sure. Shut up. Okay, now I'm going to have to stop the recording because the computer interrupted. Oh, maybe I won't. So anyway, let's see. Let me go on here. Truth is, okay, I have receipts for a lot of the things that were done to me, and you should keep yours too. Receipts and as in evidence. Document everything. Some of the facts and the dates will get scrambled because you'll end up developing a condition called CPT, which is a lot like a regular post-traumatic stress disorder, except you're much more reactive. You become much more angry, and your meltdowns happen much more quickly, and the anger comes more quickly because the abuse that you go through isn't a single event or several events, but often with these people, it might be many hundreds of events. So the type of PTSD is actually much worse than the normal. And because not all narcissists are the same, some are what they just call grandiose, or you might call, they're very outgoing, they're very charismatic, or they seem to be charismatic. Some are what are called vulnerable or covert narcissists, where they hide what they are and they keep that fact from you that they are that thing. But they're all malignant, meaning that they generally all have the worst possible outcome for you in their mind, including death. And since I came here, and this is documented by the police, so you can doubt me all you want, but a lot of it is documented. I've had about 6 or 7 attempts on my life. And one or two of them was by the actual narcissist himself. So there's also business narcissists. There's a dude called Greg Gardner who stole a multi-million-dollar website from me by breaking into my place and forging signatures. Then he hit me with a $100,000 slap suit designed to shut me up because he knew I couldn't afford any kind of a fancy lawyer. And I also have receipts as in evidence from a business partner who was a scammer who participated in immigration scams. He was a serial adulterer, and he performed crooked business deals. And also he also associated closely with Greg Gardner because narcissists often, birds of a feather flock together. Oh, yeah, and then he also took me for thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes that I'm still dealing with the government on that one. So I personally try not to judge these people. I try to forgive, but I don't forget. Otherwise, I'd be subject to more abuse by more of this kind of people. I'm getting over the CPTSD slowly. I tend to, now the emotions that come up tend to be sadness, crying jags that go on for far too long and often daily. But it's way better than the meltdowns that used to occur. So mostly I forgive myself for the type of the person I became. Excuse my noises here. So as some social media people say, that's the main person you need to forgive is yourself for the horrible things that you might have done, or that you feel like you might have done, or that you might feel is horrible because maybe you accidentally put down a friend too hard instead of just cutting him out of your life. You can do what I did and become reactive and angry, which doesn't help anything. But, what does it do? It kind of gets rid of a person you probably should have gotten out of your life already anyway. So one of the things that people will often do when you're trying to get out of a circumstance like this is try to get you to move. Sometimes you may have to move because there just might be too many horrible people in your neighborhood around you who gang stalk you, like what happened to me for a while. But maybe it will help, maybe it won't. In my case, I like my place, so I don't really want to move, especially now with Donald Trump being a narcissist in charge of the country coming up soon. I'd rather be in a blue state and one where I can grow my garden easily in case his tariffs happen and he drives food prices out of control and destroys the value of the dollar. But the other reason I don't leave is that a Buddhist friend once told me, and this was a core tenet of her faith, was, are you going to run away like a cowardly chicken? Or are you going to face these demons and destroy them by telling the truth, is what she meant. And I agree with her. She's no longer with us, but I feel her and her messages from beyond the grave, as they say, when you hear somebody's voice in your head. So if you want to help this channel stay online and equipped to handle the worst of these circumstances, and buy coffee and toilet paper. Again, sorry about that. Visit the links below or comment on the video, share it, or you can use the YouTube remix button to make your own remix of it. I hope you do it in a positive way. And I hope some part of this video helps you to deal with your situation and know that you're in good company with this kind of abuse, because the narcissist likes to pretend to be a good person, but they actually use good people. And so if you've been used and you're a grade A supply, you'll be in a group of people who tend to be of a similar quality to you, which is a high quality human being. So I hope some part of this helps you. If you find any accounts on social media or on business or dating platforms that look like me, it's probably not me. There's some deep fakes that my current stalker put online to slander my name with. So I know those are floating around somewhere. But if you're doubtful about anyone or about my channel, come to this channel on YouTube instead. My address on YouTube is @AdamWestish. No special characters or anything in there, no spaces. So mahalo. I hope you enjoyed some of these true life experiences. I hope you can deal with the gang stalking and the narcissistic abuse. I'm going to put in some videos of some of the people who stalked me and some of the attacks, some of the information evidence that I can point out. And I hope you had a good listen. Adam Westish. Aloha and out. Oh, also wanted to mention, I don't have information about all of these facts. Some of them were reported to me anonymously or by friends who wish to remain anonymous. Some of them are based on my intuition, which tends to be extremely strong and fills in the gaps sometimes. So take some of it with a grain of salt. But I'm doing my best given the circumstances and limited resources. Enjoy the video. Here's a hammer that was thrown at my head by some flying monkeys, possible friends of this stalker dude, who danced around on my security camera, making fun of the cameras, and then threw this at my head. Here's a machete that was owned by the stalker that was left next to my friend's car after the windows had been smashed out and the starter messed with and mirrors, external mirrors broken. Other objects and some of the cars who tried to run me over and had nooses hanging from their mirrors, or who challenged me to fight in front of my place or elsewhere, just on the street alone, or who followed me home from the store. I'll post these after.